Hello and welcome to News Tonight on RajyaSabhaTV. I'm Tina Jha. Before we go over to the headlines, RajyaSabhaTV appeals to all its viewers to stay safe from the COVID-19 pandemic. Wear face masks, wash your hands and faces regularly, and maintain physical distancing whenever you step outside. Remember, these simple precautions are all that it takes to defeat the pandemic. And now over to the top stories of the day. Countrywide dry run of COVID vaccination tomorrow. Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan reviews preparations for vaccine transport and distribution with state health ministers. US Congress confirms Joe Biden's electoral victory, paves way for oath-taking as American president on 20th of January. Curfew in Washington, D.C. after rioting supporters of Donald Trump stormed the Capitol building. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and several other world leaders expressed concern over violence. Government announces 28,400 crore rupees industrial scheme for Jammu and Kashmir. Plan to take industrial development to block level, encourage investment and generate employment for 4.5 lakh people. Prime Minister Modi inaugurates nation's first double-stack container, dedicates new Rewari, new Madar section of Western Dedicated Freight Corridor to the nation. And JEE advanced exam on the 3rd of July. Union Education Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank says 75% mark criteria for admission waived off due to COVID-19 pandemic. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Thursday dedicated the 306-kilometer new Rewari, new Madar section of the Western Dedicated Freight Corridor to the nation. He said the corridor will help industries in Haryana and Rajasthan and also boost economy in the region. He also flagged off the world's first double-stacked long-haul container train via video conferencing. Here's a report.
Inaugurating the 306-kilometer-long New Rewari, New Madar section of the Western Dedicated Freight Corridor, Prime Minister Modi called it a game-changer for 21st century India. He also flagged off the world's first double-stacked long-haul container train from New Ateli, New Kishangarh through video conference. The 1.5-kilometer-long container train is hauled by electric traction.
डेडिकेटेड फ्रेट कॉरिडोर के इस प्रोजेक्ट को 21वीं सदी में भारत के लिए गेम चेंजर के रूप में देखा जा रहा है। पिछले 5-6 वर्षों के कड़े परिश्रम के बाद आज इसका एक बड़ा हिस्सा हकीकत बन चुका है। जिस रास्ते में मालगाड़ियों की औसत स्पीड सिर्फ 25 किलोमीटर की रही हो, वहां अब पहले से करीब 3 गुना ज्यादा तेज मालगाड़ी चलने लगी है। भारत को पहले के मुकाबले विकास की यही स्पीड चाहिए और देश की ऐसी ही प्रगति चाहिए। साथियों, आज हरियाणा के न्यू अटेली से राजस्थान के न्यू किशनगढ़ के लिए पहली डबल स्टेक कंटेनर मालगाड़ी रवाना की गई है। यानी डिब्बे के ऊपर डिब्बे, वो भी 1.5 किलोमीटर लंबी मालगाड़ी में।
Prime Minister Modi said the corridor has opened the path for manufacturing units to reach national and international markets at low cost. He expressed confidence that the corridor will boost the economy and investment.
डेडिकेटेड फ्रेट कॉरिडोर चाहे ईस्टर्न हो या वेस्टर्न, ये सिर्फ आधुनिक मालगाड़ियों के लिए आधुनिक रूट सिर्फ नहीं है, ये डेडिकेटेड फ्रेट कॉरिडोर देश के तेज विकास के कॉरिडोर भी है। ये कॉरिडोर देश के अलग अलग शहरों में नए ग्रोथ सेंटर और ग्रोथ पॉइंट के विकास का आधार भी बनेंगे।
The new Rewari New Madar section of the WDFC is located in Haryana and Rajasthan. It consists of 9 newly built dedicated freight corridor stations that includes 3 junction stations in New Rewari, New Ateli and New Fulera. The stretch will benefit industries in Rewari, Manesar, Narnaul, Fulera and Kishangarh area of Haryana and Rajasthan. It will also ensure seamless connectivity with the ports of Kandla, Pipavav, Mundra and Dahej situated in Gujarat. The corridor will help village and small-scale industries. The double-stack long-haul container trains can carry 4 times load. The freight trains will run at a maximum speed of 100 km per hour as against the current maximum speed of 75 km per hour. Speaking about the COVID-19 vaccine, Prime Minister Modi said that 2 made-in-India vaccines have been recently approved, showing that the country is swiftly moving towards building a self-reliant India.
भारत ने कोरोना की 2 मेड इन इंडिया वैक्सीन भी स्वीकृत की है। भारत की अपनी वैक्सीन ने देशवासियों में नया आत्मविश्वास पैदा किया है। 2021 की शुरुआत के माहौल में आरंभ से ही भारत की ये तेजी आत्मनिर्भरता के लिए गति, ये सारी बातें देख करके, सुन करके कौन हिंदुस्तानी होगा, कौन मां भारती का लाल होगा, कौन मां भारत को प्रेम करने वाला व्यक्ति होगा जिसका माथा गर्व से ऊंचा न हो।
Railway Minister Piyush Goyal, Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot and Haryana Chief Minister Manohar Lal Khattar were also present during the event. Bureau Report, RajyaSabhaTV.
Ahead of the nationwide COVID-19 vaccine dry run, Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan on Thursday interacted with health ministers of states and union territories in order to review the preparedness for administering the COVID-19 vaccine. During the meeting, he asked them to personally lead the exercise to ensure smooth conduct of the vaccination drive. The minister said that the centre has reviewed the feedback on the dry run from the first phase and made necessary improvements based on them.
एक एक्टिविटी सारा देश मिलकर कल एक साथ करने वाला है देश के सभी डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स के अंदर, जिसको हम ड्राई रन का नाम दे रहे हैं। हमने सबसे पहले 4 स्टेट्स में ये ड्राई रन किया था। उन 4 स्टेट्स के अंदर जो कुछ भी हमें फीडबैक्स मिले, वो सारे हमने फीडबैक्स को यहाँ कम से कम एक लगभग 150 पेज का एक गाइडलाइंस सारे देश को सर्कुलेट की गई है कोविड के वैक्सीनेशन के संदर्भ में। हमने उस फीडबैक के आधार पर उसमें भी इम्प्रूवमेंट्स किए।
On the COVID-19 vaccines, the health minister informed that both the vaccines, Covishield and Covaxin, will be available very soon. He added that nearly 170,000 vaccinators and 3 lakh vaccination teams have been trained in vaccine administration so far.
30 जो है वैक्सीन के कैंडिडेट्स खाली भारत में हैं और इसमें से 7 वैक्सीन कैंडिडेट ऐसे हैं जो क्लिनिकल ट्रायल्स और प्री क्लिनिकल ट्रायल्स के एडवांस फेजेस के अंदर है। 2 हमारी वैक्सीन्स जो है उनको इमरजेंसी यूज ऑथराइजेशन मिल गया है और उन वैक्सीन्स को देश की, समाज के लोगों की कोविड से सुरक्षा के लिए उन वैक्सीन्स का इस्तेमाल करने की स्टेज के अंदर हम सब लोग आज आकर खड़े हो गए हैं।
The minister further said that some priority groups have been identified for vaccination in the first phase.
पहले हमारे फेज में हमने जैसे हेल्थ केयर वर्कर्स, चाहे वो प्राइवेट सेक्टर में हो चाहे वो पब्लिक सेक्टर में हो, उसके बाद हमारे जो फ्रंट लाइन वर्कर्स हैं और उन फ्रंट लाइन वर्कर्स में जैसे पुलिस के, सेंट्रल पुलिस के लोग, आर्म फोर्सेस के लोग, होम गार्ड्स के लोग, हमारे सिविल डिफेंस ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस के लोग, डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट से भी जुड़े हुए वॉलंटियर्स, जो हमारे रेवेन्यू वर्कर्स हैं जिन्होंने हमारे कंटेनमेंट और सर्विलेंस के अंदर एक्टिवली काम किया, प्रिजन स्टाफ और ये म्यूनिसिपल वर्कर्स.
The Union Health Minister will be visiting Tamil Nadu on Friday to review preparedness and also oversee the dry run operations at the session site. A second nationwide dry run for COVID-19 vaccination will be conducted nationwide on Friday. The drill will be held at 3 session sites of 736 districts across the country. Union Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan has written to Maharashtra, Kerala, Chhattisgarh and West Bengal, urging them to take steps to curb the spike in COVID-19 cases. These states are reporting an upsurge in the number of daily new cases in recent days. They comprise about 59% of the total active cases in the country. These states have been advised to maintain a strict vigil and also to take steps in order to keep a check on the rising cases, especially in view of the new strain of the UK virus. The Health Secretary also advised aggressive implementation of the test, track and treat strategy. The states have been assured of all necessary support of the Union Health Ministry, which is required in order to manage the pandemic. And India leaped across a significant milestone in its fight against COVID-19 today, with total cumulative recoveries crossing the 1 crore mark. India's recovery are currently the highest in the world. 19,587 patients recovered in the last 24 hours, taking the national recovery rate to 96.36%. States reported 20,346 new cases of COVID-19 in the same period, which include 222 deaths. The total cases in the country are nearing 1.04 crore, out of which only 228,000 are active cases. The total deaths in the country have crossed 1,50,336. Over 9,37,000 samples were tested in the last 24 hours, taking the total samples tested in India to 17.84 crores. Kerala once again reported 6,394 cases in the last 24 hours, the highest among states, followed by Maharashtra, which recorded 4,382 new cases, while Chhattisgarh registered 1,050 new cases yesterday. With 66 deaths, Maharashtra also reported the maximum single-day deaths. Kerala saw a fatality count of 25, while West Bengal reported 22 new deaths. Maharashtra, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu and Kerala remain the worst hit states. The Jammu and Kashmir administration has announced a new industrial developmental scheme with a total outlay of 28,400 crore rupees. Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha announced on Thursday that the new scheme aims to encourage new investment and to take industrial development to the block level. He said that this scheme is from the period of date of notification up to the year 2037. He also went on to say that the scheme will go a long way in ushering an era of socio-economic development in the region and for catering to the aspirations of the people.
For the first time, any industrial incentive scheme is taking industrial development to the block level and will promote far-flung areas of Jammu and Kashmir. The scheme is from the period of date of notification up to the year 2037 with a total outlay of rupees 28,400 crores. Will encourage new investment, substantial expansion and also nurture the existing industries in Jammu and Kashmir. Employment to more than 4.5 lakh, equitable, balanced and sustainable socio-economic development of the region.
While giving more details of the scheme, the Lieutenant Governor said it will give a major push to the economy of the region and provide huge opportunities of employment to the people of Jammu and Kashmir. He explained that the scheme will provide a major support to the local industry besides creation of new business opportunities.
The scheme visualizes larger role of Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir in Indian economy and development with substantial investment, and I guess it will be more than 20,000 crores. The scheme will optimize utilization of local strength of Jammu and Kashmir. I can proudly say that in the last 16 months, Jammu Kashmir Union Territory, the crown jewel of India, has been transformed into the land of opportunity with forward-looking policy to guarantee prosperity and economic success.
Union Home Minister Amit Shah welcomed the industrial development scheme in Jammu and Kashmir. In a Twitter message, he said, and I quote, "Prime Minister Modi has ushered in an era of development in the Union Territory. The decision to launch 28,400 crore rupee scheme for industrial development of Jammu and Kashmir shows the importance of the Union Territory for Prime Minister Modi." He said the scheme will boost local manufacturing and create new employment opportunities. He also said that the scheme will give a major boost to cottage, handicraft and MSME industries in the region. Union Education Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank has announced the dates of the JEE Advanced 2021 entrance exams. The JEE Advanced examination will be held on the 3rd of July 2021. Like last year, this year as well, the government removed the minimum 75% marks for Class 12 board exam for the convenience of students.
निर्णय लिया गया है कि जो जेई आईआईटी में जो प्रवेश हेतु जेई एडवांस की परीक्षा पात्रता के लिए जो 75% का मानदंड था उसे हमने इस समय भी हटा दिया है ताकि आपको ये सुविधा मिल सके और प्रतिभाशाली छात्र छात्राएं वो जेई एडवांस की परीक्षाओं में बैठ सकें और सफल हो सकें। ये परीक्षा आपको जैसे कि मालूम है कि बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण होती है और शीर्ष परीक्षा होती है ये देश की ऐसी। तो प्रमुख परीक्षाओं में शीर्ष प्रमुख परीक्षाओं में जब आप सम्मिलित हो रहे हैं तो स्वाभाविक आपके मन में आएगा कि ये कब होनी है। तो ये 3 जुलाई 2021 को इसकी तिथि भी सुनिश्चित की गई है। आपके पास पूरा वक्त है, बहुत अच्छे तरीके से आप तैयारी कर सकते हैं। और इस समय ये परीक्षा जो आईआईटी खड़गपुर है वो आयोजित करेगा।
The next round of talks between the central government and the farmers' unions protesting against the agriculture reform laws will take place on Friday. On the 4th of January, the centre held its 7th round of talks with the farmers' unions. Union Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar has hoped for a positive outcome after the meeting. He also said that the government is committed to solving the problems of the farmers and assured that the 3 farm laws are for the benefit of the farmers. Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu has given the panel on health and family welfare time till the 1st of April to present its report on the Assisted Reproductive Technology Regulation Bill 2020. The bill provides for regulation of assisted reproductive technology services in the country. Here's a report.
The department-related Parliamentary Standing Committee on Health and Family Welfare has been given extension of time till 1st April 2021 to submit its report on the Assisted Reproductive Technology Regulation Bill 2020. The ART bill was introduced in Lok Sabha on 14 September last year.
Respected sir, I rise to move for leave to introduce the Assisted Reproductive Technology Regulation Bill 2020.
ART includes all techniques that obtain a pregnancy by handling the sperm outside the human body and transferring the embryo into the reproductive system. It provides that every ART clinic and bank must be registered under the National Registry of Banks and Clinics of India. The National Registry will be established as a central database with details of all ART clinics and banks in the country. State governments will appoint registration authorities to facilitate the registration. A child born through ART will be deemed a biological child of the commissioning couple. The child will be entitled to the rights and privileges available to a natural child of the couple. A donor will not have parental rights. India is a major center of what is termed as the global fertility industry. Reproductive medical tourism is also popular. However, there is no standardization of protocols. The bill is the most recent in a series of legislations introduced to safeguard the reproductive rights of women. Kriti Mishra, RajyaSabhaTV.
The Parliamentary Standing Committee on Food, Consumer Affairs and Public Distribution met on Thursday. On the agenda was oral evidence of the representatives of the Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution on strengthening of the public distribution system and augmenting use of technological means and implementation of One Nation, One Ration Card scheme. The scheme gained more traction after a lockdown was imposed to contain the spread of COVID-19 last year. It seeks to ensure that the beneficiaries under the National Food Security Act and other welfare schemes, especially the migrant workers and their families, get ration from any fair price shop across the country that has a biometric verification system in place. The reforms stipulate Aadhaar seeding of ration cards, biometric authentication of beneficiaries, and automation of all fair price shops across the country. A 3-member central team arrived in Kerala on Thursday to assess the situation arising out of the outbreak of bird flu in Alappuzha and Kottayam districts. According to the state government, over 69,000 birds, including ducks and chicken, were culled in the districts of Alappuzha and Kottayam to contain the H5N8 strain of bird flu. Meanwhile, neighbouring Karnataka has put all districts on high alert amid the bird flu outbreak. 6 crows have died in the state's Dakshin Kannada district and their samples have been sent for tests to ascertain the cause of their death. The Union Health Ministry has also deployed special teams in Haryana's Panchkula district, where around 4 lakh chicken have died over the past 20 days. 12 epicenters in 4 affected states have also been identified so far. India has asked world powers to recognize the regional identity of African nations and give the African Union a mandate to decide its own security issues. Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla said this during his address to the United Nations Security Council. He said the African countries need to be helped to rid themselves of the instability and to strengthen their hands in democracy. My colleague Akhilesh Suman brings us this report. India has sought primacy for the African Union in establishing peace and stability in Africa. Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla stated this in his address to the United Nations Security Council as India's representative after it became a non-permanent member of the UNSC.
The Security Council should remain respectful of the regional approach adopted by countries in collaboration with regional organizations to address common challenges. The African Union has a leadership role to play in consolidating peace and post-conflict reconstruction in Africa. The collaboration between the UN and the African Union and sub-regional organizations such as ECOWAS, ECCAS, SDAC and IGAD has yielded positive results.
Referring to India's experiences of peacekeeping in the African regions, the Foreign Secretary said the United Nations should have an exit strategy in conflict-prone areas to allow local communities to resolve matters in African countries.
The Security Council should remain respectful of the regional approach adopted by countries in collaboration with regional organizations to address common challenges. The African Union has a leadership role to play in consolidating peace and post-conflict reconstruction in Africa. The collaboration between the UN and the African Union and sub-regional organizations such as ECOWAS, ECCAS, SDAC and IGAD has yielded positive results.
India has always unconditionally supported African countries in their development in line with their priorities. India, in fact, was the first developing country to provide duty-free, quota-free market access to 33 countries in Africa. India is also Africa's third largest export destination. The Indian companies have invested over $54 billion in Africa.
India is the one country that understands the sensitivity and development needs of African nations than any other country. And that is why India has been giving tax-free, quota-free market access to African nations in India. India has been a reliable development partner of African nations in COVID time also and from the very beginning after independence. Akhilesh Suman for RajyaSabha Television with camera person Suresh in Delhi.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will be the next US President and Vice President respectively. The joint session of the US Congress on Thursday formally certified Joe Biden's victory in the presidential election, hours after Donald Trump's supporters stormed the Capitol Hill building and sought to thwart the peaceful transfer of power. The Electoral College votes were approved after both the Senate and the House of Representatives rejected objections raised by the Republicans to the votes in the states of Pennsylvania and Arizona. The 78-year-old Democratic leader Biden and his 56-year-old Indian origin deputy Kamala Harris will be sworn in on the 20th of January. On Wednesday, chaotic and violent scenes unfolded at the US Capitol as supporters of President Donald Trump stormed the building to protest the Electoral College vote. The violence took place when a joint session of Congress was convened to certify President-elect Joe Biden's win in the November presidential elections. Trump, however, has now pledged that there will be an orderly transfer of power to Joe Biden on the 20th. The Washington, D.C. police said that 4 people died in Wednesday's violence. And leaders around the world condemned violent scenes in Washington, D.C. after supporters of Donald Trump stormed the Capitol building. Condemning the violence, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said he was distressed to see news about rioting and violence in Washington. He added that the democratic process cannot be allowed to be subverted through unlawful protests. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson also condemned the violence and said that the United States stands for democracy around the world and it is now vital that there should be a peaceful and orderly transfer of power. French President Emmanuel Macron said that what happened in Washington is certainly not American. In a video posted on his official Twitter account, he added that we will not give in to the violence of a few who want to question democracy across the world. And Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau also tweeted that the scenes at the US Capitol were an attack on democracy. The European Union's foreign policy chief condemned the assault on the US democracy. In a Twitter message, Josep Borrell said, "This is not America and the election of the 3rd November results must be fully respected." Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison also went on to condemn the violence and said, "We look forward to a peaceful transfer of government to the newly elected administration in the great American democratic tradition." And before we leave, RajyaSabhaTV once again appeals to all its viewers to stay safe from the COVID-19 pandemic. Wear face masks, wash your hands and face regularly, and maintain physical distancing while stepping outside. Remember, these simple precautions by you are all that it takes to defeat the pandemic. Good night and thank you for your time.